Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derrick Bittner, and I'm joined today by Ash Paulson to give our thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3, specifically the Toy Story world and how it's shaping up so far. So let's get started. Alright Ash, so we're a little bit behind on all this. There's been a while since the D23 Expo and all these reveals came out for Kingdom Hearts, specifically Toy Story's world, and the fact that they're claiming that it's going to come out in 2018, which, I don't know about you, but I'm still a little iffy on that one, but we'll see. It's fingers crossed at the very least. But what are you thinking so far? Because I don't think we really sat down and gave our opinions on this. We just got busy with other things, so we wanted to just sort of make up for that.
Right. Well, I have to say, I actually do believe the 2018 date, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I want to say I absolutely believe it's going to be like December 31st, 2018. Like, it's going to be as late as possible as they could possibly do this. But I gotta say, like, the orchestra trailer and the Toy Story trailer together kind of finally gave me the sense that, like, I could see what's been going on at Square for all these years during development. Like, these were the first trailers that I really felt like, okay, this game is actually, it's coming together as a game, as a full experience. We're not just seeing little bits and pieces and snippets. Like, okay, I can see where all this time has gone. I still think the development cycle has been obscenely long, and only Square Enix could get away with this. Like, it's too long. But at the same time, we're now seeing Kingdom Hearts 3 coalesce as a complete experience. We're getting some of the major story beats. And this actually kind of reignited my hype, these two trailers together, just because now it finally feels like the finish line is in sight, at least to me. Maybe not to you, but it kind of felt like, okay, I can see where they're going, and I can actually see this coming out next year.
Mm-hmm. I want to hope. I so want to hope. Yeah. I want it to happen. But, we've seen stuff in more of completed stages before, and then they would just delay it, or it won't come out, or they're still working on it because it's not quite ready yet. I mean, we got that whole presentation for Final Fantasy 15, and it got delayed still.
No, you're totally right. I mean, this is Square Enix, and this, especially even more than that, this is Tetsuya Nomura. So, if he'll find reasons to delay things, and I mean, obviously he's a visionary, and obviously, he loves getting things exactly the way he envisions them, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, I mean, obviously he needs to be reined in at some point, and he hasn't had any qualms about delaying this game for just ridiculously long amounts of time already. So you're totally right. He could easily push this into 2019. I don't know if I see this going into 2020.
No, I don't see it 2020. 2019 to me is the latest, unless something horrid goes wrong.
Seriously,
there's no way it's not coming out by 2019. I will say,
and unless like sales of 2.8 were so impressive that Square Enix directs him to do like a 2.95, then
just get that last little bit in here. Like, this is what's going on in Ventus's mind while he's hanging out in all that. But the thing is, I think the thing that makes the wait so hard is because the game looks freaking awesome.
It looks insane.
They're doing, like, the one thing I was so disappointed about with Kingdom Hearts 2 compared to Kingdom Hearts 1 was just how small the worlds felt. There was nothing really to explore. It was so hallway-like, and, like, you got little variations here and there, but it was really easy to see all the worlds, and they really weren't all that interesting. But to see them take the concept of Olympus Coliseum, specifically Mount Olympus, and just expand upon it to such a degree that it almost looks like an original work that just sort of like takes place off camera of the Disney movie. That gives me so much hope, because they just keep showing more and more and more of that world. And who knows, maybe that's the only one that's that big. It's hard to say for sure. But just seeing the immense size of it and what you can do and how much fun it is, how much fun it looks to be, makes me so excited to play it.
Yeah, well, and not only that, I'm glad they finally, at least for myself, finally found a way to make Olympus Coliseum interesting, because I always dreaded having to go back to Olympus Coliseum in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. I mean, 2 helped a little bit with the underworld expansion, that part of the world, but overall, I just kind of always felt that world to be kind of bland, and I wasn't as into the music, and the Coliseum tournament stuff was cool, but not my favorite parts of the game. I'm more into the story stuff, obviously. So, yeah, like, I'm glad they're taking this, this world that I typically kind of like, okay, it's fine, but it's not my favorite. Mount Olympus looks awesome. Like, I want to explore it, and I think that the colors are cool. Like, the environment is just gorgeous, and this is like, okay, they're actually doing something with this world that I really I want to go explore this area, and even more than like the underworld, this looks like a really cool area. So yeah, I like that they're making Olympus Coliseum more important, in terms of Sora retraining after what happened in Dream Drop Distance, at the same time making it more interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It feels kind of like a training ground, and I can kind of see them just slowly introduce Sora's abilities back as he goes through. And who knows, maybe we'll actually meet Zeus. I mean, it'd be weird if we don't meet some of the other gods as we're heading up Mount Olympus. I'll say that much.
That's true. And I have to say, touching on your point about the Disney worlds, I agree that they were very hallway-like in the second game and or in the first game, and not as big as they could be. So I like that they're expanding them. However, the thing I think bothered me the most was not necessarily the size or their hallway-like design, but really just how empty they felt. Especially, you could see this in like Dream Drop Distance, where the Hunchback of Notre Dame world, La Cité des Clochers, I think is that how you say it?
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, that you got this whole city, and you got like various parts of the city, and like all these talented like buildings and structures, but not a single person except for Frollo and
Quasimodo and Esmeralda, like the main characters.
Everyone. And it's like, okay, but where are the townspeople? So I hope they do a better job at making these places feel like more than movie sets, they like actual lived-in places. Yeah, because
there's that whole scene where Quasimodo's holding up Esmeralda for the whole sanctuary bit, and it looks over the crowd, and there's no crowd. It's just random cheering coming from the thing. It's like, are we insane? We might be insane.
Yeah.
We're just imagining.
It's really weird. Yeah.
To see them be able to pull off that much more for it, and going into the Toy Story world, even just beyond having it there, and it really feels like they've learned their lessons about how to treat the Disney worlds. Because before, it's always been sort of this, well, let's retell the movie, just having Sora and Donald and Goofy there as well.
Yeah.
From what I've seen so far, at least from what we've heard of the Big Hero 6 world and now Toy Story, they're expanding upon the movies. Like Big Hero 6, the lost body of Baymax that was lost in another dimension. Well, it turns out that that's a Heartless dimension, and the Heartless take over Baymax's old body, so now it's the new Baymax that's still good and basically the same as he was before, versus a dark Baymax, and it's
I love that.
That's a cool expansion. And Toy Story is canon. It takes place after Toy Story 2, and they're filling in the gaps there. Yeah, it's not going to be a direct, like, hey, we got to take down Sid, he's been possessed by the Heartless. No, it's doing its own thing, but using these Disney characters in new ways, and that's so much more interesting than what they've done before.
Totally, and Disney, with their, they're so conservative with the way they treat their properties. Understandably, they've gotten to where they are today because of that. But that feels like the kind of thing that they would never sign off on. Like, oh, we've got this Kingdom Hearts thing. Okay, we've already allowed you to use these characters and worlds, but there's no way we're going to let you, slot in your storyline to make the Toy Story timeline, that part of it canon. Like, that doesn't seem like something Disney would normally allow anyone to do, let alone Square. And I think it's really cool that they're giving them and Kingdom Hearts the oversight to say, hey, we are going to slot in our own little chunk of story into the existing timeline. And props to Disney for letting them do that. I think that's or Pixar, I guess, in this case, but still, I think it's really cool.
Oh yeah, both Disney and Pixar, because Big Hero 6
both of them, really.
Yeah, Disney Animation. I mean, they even had one of the guys behind Toy Story come out on stage to talk about the Toy Story world and just show how much of a write-off they had to do all this stuff. And I love that idea. And it's always fun. I love the worlds where Sora changes his form. And we get Toy Sora in this.
Toy Sora, yeah.
And I love it. It's so cool to see just.
And it's going to lead to cool figures too.
Oh yeah,
like that he's made for. He's literally a figure himself in the world, so that is made for a real life. It's so meta. I love it.
It's awesome. So, what do you think of Toy Story being in this? The new world in Kingdom Hearts, because I know we had that discussion before with Chris and Yossi, where we were not sure if they should dive into Toy Story, the Pixar and Star Wars and Marvel stuff until after the Xehanort saga.
I'm all for it to a point. I feel like Pixar has been around for so long. I mean, Pixar obviously was a thing when Kingdom Hearts 2 is happening, and people wanted Pixar worlds in that game. So I feel like it's a bit different with Pixar than it is with Star Wars and Marvel, because I feel like that came about between 2 and 3, like, you know, closer to where we are now. And I feel like that does still feel a little bit new. And I also just don't know if inherently there's as much alignment between Marvel and Kingdom Hearts or Star Wars and Kingdom Hearts as there is Pixar and Kingdom Hearts, just because of, you know, the thematic, just how they, you know, all their thematic elements and how they're all colorful and cartoony. I don't know if I see as much commonalities with Marvel or Star Wars. So I think the Pixar stuff is great. But I draw the line, and of course now, I'm not going to not play it or be so angry if they went to Star Wars world, but personally, I draw the line there. I'm cool with Pixar, but I don't think I'd want to see them approach Marvel or Star Wars until after the Xehanort Saga. I feel like that is kind of such a thematic shift that I think I feel like I would rather them wait on that.
Yeah, because I could totally see Kingdom Hearts working within the worlds of Marvel or Star Wars. I mean, you got the dark side, you got the darkness.
True.
It kind of works together pretty well. Plus, lightsaber keyblade. Need I say
well,
more?
yeah, and of course it's not as if Pirates of the Caribbean, it's not like that had any thematic commonalities with Kingdom Hearts. So really, Star Wars and Marvel could totally work.
Yeah.
I think I just personally, as not a huge fan of those, I'd rather them wait, I guess.
I am a fan of those, and I still want them to wait. Like, I feel like save that for the 4th game, something big to, like, say something big, new, interesting, like, really show it off. To me, since this is the capper, stick to what we've had before, bring in those new Disney movies that they have come out since then, and we're getting that with Tangled, Big Hero 6, and even Toy Story to a degree. And there's no way there's not going to be a Frozen world. There is no way there is not going to be a Frozen world.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there has to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think of the Toy Story world itself?
It looks so cool. I love the scale. I mean, I just love even the way that it starts with them under the bed, and you immediately know what's happening, and it just kind of subtly builds up to what you already know is happening, but it's still so much fun, and the scale's cool. I am actually, or I was actually blown away by the character models. It looked like we were playing the movie, or at least like they were playing the movie, and I can't believe that we've gotten to the point now that like these graphics are every bit as good as what we were seeing in the first Toy Story movie. I would say probably beyond that, but it's just insane how unbelievably good these characters look. Woody and Buzz Lightyear look so authentic to their movie versions. The way they're lip syncing and the way they talk, it's really impressive stuff.
It totally is. Like, they just nailed the look of it so well. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I need to see them side by side, and I know a couple people have done that. But it's still one of those things. Like, Andy has to look better. Andy looks horrifying.
That's true.
The first Toy Story. The toys. I mean, there's a reason they chose toys for their limitations. The whole plasticky feeling actually works for them. Just the world itself and how they crafted it was like, of course they're going to be the size of the toys. And I was always curious, like, if they were going to be Toy Story, are they going to have Buzz or Woody be the partners? And no, that both of them are the partners. Like, we actually have a 5-man party in this, and that's awesome.
I do love that it seems that Nomura is not afraid to challenge series conventions with this game. Like, as we've seen, not only with the larger parties, but parties that allow you to, only have Donald and Goofy, or have Donald and Goofy and your extra guest character from the world you're in all together. You don't have to change anymore, or swap them out. So I love that. I love that like Nomura is willing to experiment with certain facets of things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was always one of my disappointing things. Is like I wanted to use the new Disney character, but I have such a good setup with Donald and Goofy that I didn't really want to choose. And being able to have all of them was like, yeah, I'm down for that. Let's do it. That looks so much more fun, and just to see them do that sort of thing is great. And I'm not sure how big the Toy Story world is going to be. So far, we've only seen in Andy's room, the street, and then Pizza Planet. It's hard to say how big this world is exactly going to be, and it's a little harder to make a big world with Toy Story unless you're really going every block. But man, the Pizza Planet section was awesome.
Oh my god, those mechs! Like, that just looks... It just looks like absolute joy to play. Like, it's just joyous. There's so much stuff exploding on screen and crazy colors, and you're just jumping into mechs and blowing stuff up, and it's just also fun. I mean, and that's kind of what I'm talking about when I mentioned that, like, these latest trailers have really helped me see that this game actually is coalescing into what will be the finished version. Like they've actually got some sort of, you know, meat here instead of just showing us, you know, little bits of various parts of the game. Like, no, they really went in depth on the Toy Story world, and I can see what they're kind of building up to. And yeah, I think that's kind of what got me so hyped, because it's like, okay, this feels like a real game now. I can see myself playing this.
Yeah, and just being able to jump from mech to mech to mech in order to just have these fights, and it just gave this wonderful feel. And I think that's the thing, the combat looks so fun. It's like just taking the best elements from across the series and just tossing them into a mixing bowl and just letting them just come out as this weird coagulation that just looks so much fun. And I cannot wait to play it. Like, we got a tease with Aqua and the whole 2.8, but this looks even beyond that.
Oh, no, it totally does. I mean, yeah, you could tell that, you know, while 2.8 was based on, you know, the engine, of course, the depth wasn't necessarily there. You know, Aqua kind of has a canned set of abilities because it's obviously a very short game. So, yeah, I mean, it's clearly the shell of Kingdom Hearts 3's battle system was there in 2.8, but now we're seeing it get fleshed out with all this content and depth and mechanics. And I love Sora's transforming Keyblade. That's like the coolest thing. every new transformation I see, it's so cool. And you know, like, not even, this isn't strictly related to the mechanics, but it's also just so refreshing to be playing as Sora at his current age. Like, he's older. You know, we haven't done that since Kingdom Hearts 2, and Nomura has this weird fascination with having us continuously play as Sora in his child, or, you know, younger form from Kingdom Hearts 1, as he did in Dream Drop Distance. It's just nice to we're not playing as Riku, we're not playing as Roxas, we're playing as Sora the way he's meant to be. He's, you know, becoming the most powerful version of himself in this game. Like, it's nice to bring things back to this focus on Sora as he is now, in my opinion. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. And it's because it's always fun to play as Sora, and Sora always does feel like the most powerful one that you're playing as. Like,
right.
We've played as a lot of different characters over the time now, and Sora always feels the most powerful. Maybe Roxas early on, actually, when you first started playing Kingdom Hearts 2 and you got the dual Keyblades, that felt really powerful early on too, but then you got even beyond that with Sora by the end. And
exactly,
I'm looking at this stuff like, are we sure Sora lost all of his abilities?
I know, because it made it sound like he's like, yeah, you know, they failed the Mark of Mastery exam, and, you know, he lost all his power because of what Xehanort did, so he's got to train up from you know, basically level 1, I assume. And it doesn't seem like that. It seems like already, even in Olympus Coliseum, you know, maybe barring the final form stuff in Kingdom Hearts 2, he already is looking pretty much as crazy, as strong as he was throughout Kingdom Hearts 2 with his cool combos and just flying around everywhere. So I don't know how much power he actually lost.
Yeah, hard to say. I mean, I guess it's still kind of there. You just need to get the abilities back, and you know, the teams up with Goofy and likely Donald and like the other characters. It's just so cool to see just this gameplay. It is just, I don't know, it's so good to see. Like, that's the thing that's causing, like, I don't usually think about the gameplay too much when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. I'm always much more focused on the story and bits like that. I remember having fun playing through them, but it's not something that sticks with me. This, I am so focused so much more on the gameplay than the story so far. And we're getting nice little tidbits, but nothing for me to really grasp onto yet. And I think that's another reason these trailers just sort of stand out for me. It's like, yeah, here's what it looks like. Go nuts.
Right. Although I do like that little tease we get at the end of the orchestra trailer that Sora, I guess, has to embrace the darkness somehow in order to bring Roxas back as one of their 7, warriors of light versus the 13 warriors of darkness type thing. So that's exciting. I wonder what Sora, how far into the darkness is Sora going to have to venture? I mean, they were already kind of exploring that in Dream Drop Distance. So yeah, I kind of, I wonder what they're building up to there.
Yeah, it's a good question. And, they've already said that there's going to be less Disney worlds in this game than there were in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Right.
So it definitely seems like a more focused game.
I mean, and it hopefully it is, because they really do need to bring Sora to the end of this story now. Like, they cannot end this with a tease for Kingdom Hearts 4 with Sora. Like, I want Nomura to make good on his promise of this being the end of the Xehanort saga. Not because I'm going to miss Sora, I'm going to miss this story, but at the same time, it's just been so long. Like, I'm ready for to be brought to the conclusion of this story that I've been following since I was like 15 years old.
Well, they've said that even if once the Xehanort Saga ends, Sora is still going to be the main character.
You're right. No, they did say that. That was like a couple of years ago, so I forgot. I guess more that I just hope they
definitive proof that Xehanort is
dead. Yeah, I just like end this part of the story, answer all the outstanding questions, and then tease us with something new. But I just don't want them to keep like, oh, Xehanort might not actually be gone, or here's a remnant of Xehanort, and oh wow, he's combining with a remnant of Vanitas, and now they're both back. It's like, no. Just end it and let's start a new chapter.
Yeah, and that'll help as well. If you have a Kingdom Hearts 4 that's completely fresh, then people will be much more, much more willing to pick it up.
Right.
But overall, I am still super excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm trying to keep my expectations and like maybe that's part of the reason why I'm not saying it'll happen in 2018, just because I don't want to get myself too excited for what's coming, because it's going to be a long wait, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you think about it in the macro terms and how long we've already been waiting, we're at the finish line already, essentially, because we've been waiting basically almost 10 years. So if you think about it in that sense, we've already waited like 8.5, whatever, however long. I haven't done the math, right now, but what's another year and a half, right, compared to that, or another year? That's how I like to look at it, because we really are toward the end of our wait, whatever that is.
Yeah. Thank goodness. That's all it comes down to.
And I'm just glad that the Keyblade seems to agree with what I've always said, that Yensid was to blame for Sora failing the Mark of Mastery exam. Sora did nothing wrong. He didn't deserve this. He did everything right. Yensid screwed this up. So I'm glad that he seems to have more of his power here, earlier on than I expected him to.
Yeah, thank goodness. Or unless they're like returning to Olympus Coliseum and showing off like what I'll be able to do later in the game.
Oh God, no! Oh, you're right, totally. But I'm still salty that Yensid screwed this up for Sora. I was waiting for him to pass that Mark of Mastery exam.
That's alright. Alright, well I think that covers it for our Kingdom Hearts 3 discussion, so thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, and of course make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Kingdom Hearts and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.